Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation. And I'm very glad to see many familiar faces in the room from the different represented interests. For those that do not know, BEUC is the umbrella organization for 43 national independent consumer associations in Europe. As consumer associations, we look at copyright from two perspectives. On one side, on the availability of content online, and on the other side, on the consumer uses, namely what consumers can and cannot do with content online. The European Commission's copyright package is an important flagship initiative for the future of content distribution in the EU. As you know, the package is composed by different proposals which address different elements of copyright in the digital single market. The first proposal is on a regulation introducing rules to facilitate the clearance of rights for online transmissions and retransmissions by broadcasting organizations. We are not going to discuss this proposal on this occasion, but I would like nevertheless to highlight the importance to create the conditions for cross-border circulation of TV programs, which ultimately will bring more choices of content to consumers. The second proposal, and the more controversial one seems to be, is the Directive on Copyright in the Digital Single Market. These proposals, as we have heard, seeks to address, among other things, the so-called value gap. I am not going to enter into the merits of the economic case for a value gap in music or content distribution. There are others that are more qualified to talk about that. But I would rather focus on how the proposed measures would impact consumers. In this regard, we have heard that Article 13 introduces an obligation on information society service providers storing large amounts of protected content uploaded by users to adopt technical measures such as content recognition technologies to A, ensure the functioning of agreements, the licenses, and B, to prevent the proliferation of infringements. To do so, the content recognition technologies will have to filter or arguably monitor the content uploaded by users to identify unauthorized works and prevent them to be uploaded. As it stands, the current text raises several problems. First, what are the consumer safeguards if, for example, you do not agree with the effects of the measure over the content that you're trying to upload? Secondly, what is the scope of this obligation as we have here before? For example, if I own a blog or a wiki in which people post and comment extracts of books or movies, would I be covered by this provision? And finally, how this provision interplays with EU law, namely the e-commerce directive and the EU Charter of Fundamental Rights. To start with the consumer safeguards, paragraph 2 of Article 13 introduces an obligation on service providers to adopt redress mechanisms for users in case of disputes related to the application of the filtering technologies. This solution is inappropriate and likely to be inefficient from our point of view. Inappropriate because the solution of the dispute will have to be found according to the terms of use of the platform and not based on specific consumer rights. Inefficient because the application of exemption and limitation and other eventual authorized uses, such as user-generated content, will not be necessarily covered. Redress mechanisms imposed by law need to take place outside the platform. For example, there are already obligations on member states to introduce alternative dispute resolution mechanisms on different sectors. The EU has adopted an online dispute resolution platform for consumer disputes. So why we are not making use of them in the context of disputes arising from the application of content identification technologies, which ultimately are disputes arising from the execution of the terms of use? Secondly, on the scope of the filtering obligation. This provision applies to all service providers storing all types of content. The only requirement is that the service provider hosts large amounts of protected content. This is a very broad scope of application. What constitutes large amount of content is undefined. Google's YouTube will certainly fall in the scope, but what about the blogs or the wikis that we mentioned before? Limiting the scope of its provision to certain categories of works, such as audiovisual content, could be a way out. But this would deviate substantially from the regulatory technique used in copyright law. Additionally, this provision would apply to service providers that already have a license and therefore are making available to the public such content, and to those service providers that are benefiting from the regime of Article 14 of the E-commerce Directive. It is surprising to see that these two types of service providers are treated in the same way, irrespective of whether they are the ones making the content available to the public because of the existence of an agreement or not. Our suggestion would be rather to focus on the first group of service providers and make clear that those platforms that are benefiting already from the liability exemption, or that they should benefit from the liability exemption, are not obliged to adopt such measures. And this brings me to the last point, which is the interplay with the E-commerce Directive. I have already exposed in a hearing organized by the Legal Affairs Committees our different concerns on the interplay, so I will refer you for the sake of brevity to that presentation. However, I would like to highlight a few aspects in view of the ongoing work of the European legislator. First, if the intention is really not to affect the functioning of the E-commerce Directive, then make it clear in the text. This includes amending, for example, Article 1 to include the services among the instruments not affected by the proposal. Secondly, we have to be consistent with the European Court of Justice jurisprudence. The sentence, for example, in Recital 38 about the optimization criteria is taken from the L'Oreal eBay ruling and is completely out of context. The L'Oreal case was about counterfeit goods in auction sites. Additionally, the court required, as specified in the E-commerce Directive, the actual knowledge over the infringement, and this is not reflected in the article. Whether a platform, and this is what was raised several times before, plays an active or a passive role is something very important to clarify, but has to be done in the context of the E-commerce Directive and not be imposed by copyright law. BEUC has been supportive, actually, of providing guidance to clarify the scope of Article 14 and to define who should fall or not under the liability exemption. We cannot forget that the E-commerce Directive was adopted 2 decades ago, and the role of platforms have evolved. Therefore, clarification will be needed. But again, this should be done in the context of the E-commerce Directive and not here. Finally, the interplay with the EU Charter remains unclear. The Commission recognized in its impact assessment that the application of content recognition technologies could have a negative impact on the exercise of fundamental rights, and here I'm quoting the European Commission impact assessment. Therefore, I would suggest the legislation to pay special attention to this aspect and seek the advice of fundamental rights or human rights lawyers. All in all, this proposal is far from being ready to be adopted or become new law, and Article 13, as you can imagine, needs to be substantially amended. Thank you very much.